You're listening to All My Friends Are Ghosts, a long-form narrative drama told in 14 parts. Episode 8, The Arrival. They'd been in the town where they'd spent their adolescence for nearly an hour, with Peter sleeping in the back seat with a blanket over his head, as Simon drove through the old neighborhoods with the windows down, smelling the air. He'd completely forgotten you could actually smell the water shooting out from a sprinkler when you drove by. The scent took him back to his childhood like nothing had in years. He drove the narrow, overgrown streets of the River Road neighborhood that backed up to the golf course by the zoo, where the wood and stone cottages were alive with golden light, and the air was cool and damp, and lay over everything in a thin veil of blue, and young girls chased each other in circles in front yards. He drove up Broadway into Alamo Heights, and as the station wagon broke out of the rows of homes into Olmos Basin, Peter reached up and grabbed his shoulder.
How long? Wait, where are we?
Simon took his headphones out and pulled the car off to the side of the road and shushed his brother. He rolled down the back windows and the sound of the ballpark trickled in. That same fevered mumbling of parents and players, the buttery smell of popcorn, and the sugary scent of 10,000 pieces of double bubble being smacked on by scores of kids. The alien sun of those pure white lights. The creak of the woods. The same old familiar rhythm of cicadas they'd known as boys. When he heard the crack of the bat, Peter's dazed squint became a focused, wide-eyed pallor, shot through with a real sense of panic and nostalgia in equal measure.
You missed the toilet seat museum.
No way. That guy's still alive?
I guess he is. There's a sign out front that says to call for free viewing.
The brothers had shared many visits to Barney Smith's quirky folk art collection over the years. In their teens, they'd taken friends along to scoff and giggle under their breath. But later, they'd both grown to truly appreciate the singleness of the place and would, unbeknownst to even each other, show up to visit alone and spend hours talking with the man who'd spent decades adorning toilet seats with every imaginable medium.
He's got to be in his 90s by now. That I still wouldn't want him to see me driving this ridiculous mommy mobile around. I've got a reputation to maintain around here.
Peter leaned into the door and turned his ear toward the lighted fields. As the two of them sat there listening to the umpires calling the games, and the parents hooting and hollering, and the bodies hitting the dirt, a knot began to form in his gut, reminding him of how exciting it can be to just be alive. He sat up, opened the back door, stood there for a moment, then walked around to the passenger side and got in the front seat.
Let's go.
As they exited Olmos Park, Simon turned the stereo back on, and a distant, dreamlike melody faded up from the silence.
Okay, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Well, it's not really what he's talking about so much as it is how he's talking about it.
Oh, okay. Whatever that means.
Peter's migraine still hadn't entirely passed, but he feared asking his brother to turn the music off might start some kind of fight. So he just pressed his fingers into his temples in hopes of Simon taking the hint.
I just mean his songs, they convey all these feelings and like a sense of things, like how everything looked or smelled or felt in some moment when something was happening in his life. He's like taking a snapshot of it and distilling it into this moody pop song. Like it doesn't really matter if it's even about anything.
Oh, so it's like the whole you got to listen to the notes they're not playing kind of thing that jazz guys are always talking about.
God, no, not at all. It's completely about the notes that are being played, just like not more than how they're being played, though, like how it feels. And none of that pseudo esoteric Jim Morrison nonsense either. It's like I used to kind of feel like he wrote these catchy atmospheric pop tunes with lyrics that nobody could decipher, but like if you take it as a whole, it's different.
How do you mean take it as a whole?
I mean, it's like a Polaroid. Like you pull the button back and the flash goes off and it spits out this fuzzy, almost blurry representation of whatever was happening in front of you. And like, even though it's not some super high def image, there's almost something more to it. There's an aesthetic. There's more there. Decidedly something intangible. Like, there's something in the smudge of colors that captures a feeling. Everybody's going to respond to what's being captured in their own way, but it's there in the smudge, in the blur, waiting to be responded to.
Like with paintings, like what you see when you look at it might not be exactly what the artist was seeing when they made it, but you see it.
Well, yeah, like, so you could take little lines out of the song, like, a bridge too far is what we're walking now. But what I mean is you pull a line like that out of context, out of the rest of it, just because it hits your ear the right way or whatever. And everybody's going to hear that line their own way. I mean, some people will hardly notice it at all, or feel like it's vague and meandering, or, I don't know, a throwaway line or whatever. But you can take those little lines, tons and tons of them in his songs, and you can put whatever into them you've already got in you. You're going to hear whatever is already in you, whatever emotion it jogs in you, and it'll take you there every time you hear it from then on. I just think it's cool. His songs are full of lines like that.
Yeah. and the random crap about castles or whatever.
Well, yeah, that's probably at least half true. I don't know if I'm getting out of any song what the person who wrote it got out of it, but I do know it's not something I'm forcing. There's just an emotional response in me, something that ties me to music, certain songs, like super deeply, and it's something I've never tried to hone or practice or whatever. It just comes. It really does a lot for me.
I know.
Or used to, at least.
What do you mean used to? Your whole life is music. You can't tell me what you want on your half of a pizza without it turning into some anecdote about a songwriter or a show you went to or some record you've got.
I don't know. It's like I'm on autopilot now. Like the past 3 or 4 months. Like I'll listen to these songs that used to contain this visceral, potent lifeblood kind of panacea sort of thing for me, and now it's just, I don't know, it's not there. But I just keep talking about them like it is because I'm like too inept to talk about anything else or something.
Maybe you just need something new? Maybe it wasn't even the songs, but something else?
No, it's not that. I mean, there are songs that saved my life, songs that hit me hard enough to change me. And I'm not even talking about when I was some impressionable high school kid. I mean, like a year ago or less. There's songs that conveyed such singularly beautiful melancholy that resonated in some cavernous part of me. Like someone I never met wrote something about how miserable they were, and it rang true with me and somehow made me less miserable and feel less alone, certainly. Because I was able to not only relate to what they were saying, but also find myself just completely incapable of denying how hard the way they'd said it had hit me. Like, just finally being seen was enough to make me forget that I don't want to wake up in the morning. And now when I hear songs like that, it just makes me feel bummed out because I get this other feeling like these are people who found some real way by accident or design to affect an actual meaningful change in someone else's life just by singing about their own weird feelings or whatever.
As he turned onto San Pedro Boulevard, his eyes began to fill with tears.
I think about these incredible songs that saved my life, and it just bums me out because I've never done anything, and I'm just gonna punch the clock and throw a few more drinks back and fade away into obscurity whether I fight it or not.
They both sat silently for a while as an endless glow of neon signs and restaurant windows blurred around them.
Do you ever write anymore?
Simon's face unintentionally perked at the question, shattering his reverie, and he fished his phone from his pocket after crudely drying his face with the back of his hand.
Yeah, I mean, I write. I'm writing all the time. I'll grab this thing and I'll dictate all kinds of random thoughts and stuff. Sometimes I'll even pull up that little notes app and type in a bunch of angry nonsense about some song I heard some yuppie blasting out of his BMW or whatever.
No. I mean, do you ever write anything for publication anymore?
Oh, no. I mean, not really. The last time I submitted something, it was a short story about a guy who went through a breakup and tried to kill himself, but it didn't work.
Why didn't it work? You couldn't figure out an ending or what?
Huh?
The story. You said it didn't work.
Oh, no, I mean, no. I mean, him trying to kill himself didn't work. The story worked. I mean, I think it did. It worked enough. But I do feel like maybe it was just the start of something bigger. But it never panned out. I don't know. I sent it off to the New Yorker, but I guess maybe it was a little too maudlin or weird for their liking or whatever.
Did you really send that to the New Yorker?
Yeah, why? What do you mean? They can handle it. They're adults.
It's just surprising because I've never read that story, and you hadn't told me you'd send anything to the New Yorker. But that's great. I mean, that's really exciting.
I don't know what's so exciting about it. They didn't publish it.
You know what I mean. It's just really cool that you sent something off to them. I'm sure you were excited. Like, that you thought it was good enough to put it out there in the world.
Yeah, I guess I was excited. But, I mean, you know, I was in one of my moods, probably. One of my fits of open-mindedness. But seriously, I mean, you work hard on something and you like it. You get it to the point where you like it enough and you feel like it brings something to the table, and then you send it off to somebody whose job it is to read everything that's sent into them, and you can't help but realize, like, there's just no chance this jaded, burned out editor is going to dig what you did, and so you just curb your hopes and you repress any excitement you might have and just go clock in at the record store and never tell anybody about it,
I don't know. I guess. I never wrote anything like that in my whole life. I've never had that gift like you do. I kind of feel like if I did, I would push myself as hard as I could to achieve the level of success I desired to achieve with it.
Oh, sure, like, there you go.
What? What do you mean?
Dude, look, I know you want to be involved in my life, and you want to hear what's going on with me, and you want to feel like I appreciate that, which I do. But it's super hard for me to talk to you about any kind of art as if it's some, measurable Olympic feat or something.
Dude, get off the cross. I'm just being supportive. I want to know about...
Jesus! I know you're being supportive. It's not easy to explain to you. Can we not get into a screaming match over it?
Oh, I'm the one that's starting the screaming matches now?
Oh my god, dude, just chill.
Peter slumped back into his seat and stared straight ahead, seething in the familiar abyss of miscommunication. It was hard for him to imagine it would ever be easy to talk to his brother about anything, and he was certain Simon felt the same about him. When he thought about Simon's side of things, it just made him angrier, because he honestly felt that if Simon could just see his intentions, he would know they were on the same side, and none of this, all but constant arguing, would ever need to happen.
So, what happens to the guy in the story?
Seriously? You care?
Oh my god, Simon.
I'm kidding! I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding.
Damn it. Just tell me what happens to the story, you idiot.
Well, he gets home one day, just a normal day like all the rest, and he puts on his favorite record, and he tries to hang himself in the doorway to his bedroom, but it doesn't work. And when the guy he rents from comes home, he finds him passed out on the floor and calls 911, and the cops come. But then when they find out he tried to kill himself, they arrest him because suicide is illegal. And then when he's standing trial, now keep in mind, this is a groundbreaking case in the American judicial system. He once again tries to kill himself in his jail cell, but again doesn't succeed. And then eventually this all comes to light at trial, and seeing as he's a habitual reoffender, he's tried and convicted, and the judge sentences him to death, and that's where the story ends.
What? What? You're kidding. You're kidding.
Yes, I'm kidding. I'm not going to tell you how the story goes. You're supposed to read short stories, not have your little brother recite them from memory to you.
Okay, get bent, dude. You just missed the exit for Charlie's place.
Oh, damn it.
As he navigated the old, familiar roads toward the home of Peter's oldest friend, Simon thought more about the story he'd written and the events that inspired it. He wondered if he would ever be able to tell Peter the truth, or if he'd ever even show him the story. As they exited the highway, he felt a slight pinch in his nose and eyes.
That was like 8 months ago.
What was?
The New Yorker.
Oh. I thought maybe it was recent since I hadn't heard anything about it.
No, I just haven't done anything since then. I don't know. I haven't been writing anything. Not in years. Not until then.
Well, I know you're saying they didn't like it or whatever, but honestly, if you wrote something you thought was good enough to send to the New Yorker, I'm sure it's good. You've always been able to say something, like something substantial. Even when it was just music reviews. I still have the copies of those student newsletters you did in high school.
Simon balled up the end of his sleeve and wiped at his eyes.
God, if I wrote anything about music now, it would probably just be nonstop bitching. I'd probably end up writing reviews of reviews. I read music reviews now and just want to retch. It's ridiculous. But, like, at least it holds my interest enough to have something to say about it.
The two were silent until they turned onto Charlie Street. As they approached the driveway, Simon brought the station wagon to a stop and killed the engine. Peter got his shoes from the back seat and busied himself with putting them on.
If I wrote fiction nowadays, it would probably just end up being some hyper-emotional meta story about being a jaded record store employee or something boring like that.
So, not fiction?
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of my point. Like, I'm just not in that headspace anymore, I guess.
He looked down toward Peter's feet to see if he was actually taking this long to tie his shoes or if he was just trying to disengage from the conversation.
Sometimes I write letters.
Yeah. You used to write Andrew a letter like every week after he moved back to Utah. It really kicked you back into gear with your writing again.
A new discomfort settled in, however briefly.
Yeah, Andrew. That was like a really singular thing. I mean, it did probably snap me out of the darkest depression I had ever been through at that point in my life, but it was a really unique set of circumstances.
I knew it was a dark time for you, but I can't say I really know more than that, though.
No, there aren't any shocking revelations to be had or anything. I just mean it was a very specific time in my life, and writing those letters to him sort of snapped me out of it. It gave me something to do. Something to look forward to. I mean, it was hard for me to go sit through a lunch with Mom without bursting into tears about something out of nowhere. I was just completely screwed up.
He saw the light come on in the front room of Charlie's house, so he reached into the back seat, grabbing his backpack.
Sometimes I write letters to Mom.
What kind of letters?
Charlie's front door opened, and he stepped out onto the porch and gave a wave.
Just letters. I don't know. Maybe just notes, I guess. It's not important.
No, Simon, no, I want to know. We don't ever talk about it.
I know. It's just... Charlie's coming out.
I don't care, Simon.
They're just little notes. It's like a journal or something. I don't know. Just whatever's going on in my life. Just whatever I'm feeling. I only thought about it just because you asked if I'm writing and you mentioned the letters. It's not important.
Ah, well, son of a bitch. You guys are road tripping in the soccer mom wagon.
I told you we looked like moms in this thing, dude.
Quiet, you.
Oh, well, hell, Pete. Is Wendy in there somewhere? You got the kids tucked away in the back? Am I waking them up from their visions of sugar plums and whatnot? Hell, I thought you
There were
said
greetings and
surprise
hugs
only
and bags of clothes slung over shoulders and air mattresses and microwave leftovers and late-night TV shows. There were stories, and there was whiskey, and a convivial, celebratory tone filled the air. The morning would come quickly once he found sleep, but as he lay there, sporadically focusing on some unknowable, blurring consciousness, Simon couldn't help but brainstorm another letter to his mother in his head. He imagined telling her about their time traveling the southwestern states, leaving little bits of her wherever they'd stopped. He imagined just how he might describe the smell of the ballpark that night. He imagined how he might explain the feeling he had when he told his brother he'd been writing letters to their dead mother, and how lost he felt at the conversation being cut short. He had known it was too late in the night to have brought it up. He had known Charlie would be galloping to the car and thunderously pulling Peter out of his seat by the collar of his shirt. He had known the two of them would have hours of catching up to do. He had known there would be anecdotes and photos pulled out and stories from their high school baseball heyday. He had known it would have been better to just talk about it later, but he'd still hoped, in that brief moment between thinking the thought and speaking the thought, that the two of them could sit there and feel something real and complicated and get through it together without rushing past it, pushing it aside. But that was how it always went.
Yeah, I saved my audio from the other day too, and so I'm kind of like, I should just send you them both.
We'll have some beers.
There's gotta be it.
Maybe go to the Pizza Light show.
I did.
That'd be great, just like on time.
Could be fun, I guess.
I cannot believe that you left Mom in the glove box all night.
Oh my god, dude, just let it go already.
Let it go? Let it go? Seriously? Simon, you just left her in the glove box all night.
Well, you didn't bring her in either.
But you were driving, Simon. And I was like half asleep when we got to Charlie's. That was a bad spell for me, dude. I was super out of it.
So started their morning drive to Louisiana. The late night reminiscing and neck hugging were long gone. Peter gripped the wheel tightly, reached out, turned off the stereo, and stared straight ahead.
Whatever, dude.
He turned his body around, pulled his bag up into the front seat, and started fishing around in it until he found his headphones. Sitting there watching the town where they'd grown up disappear in the side view mirror, he wondered what Charlie was even still doing there. He wondered what anyone was still doing there. Everyone he'd known in high school had either left town to flourish in the fertile lands of wherever, or they stayed behind to slowly fade into the blur of everything. Those who had stayed were much like him, bouncing from one meaningless task to another, making money enough to live however they could, pursuing whatever brought them joy when time allowed. But it was their joy that seemed foreign to him, as it came in cable sports packages, bland corporate chain restaurants, and Hollywood blockbusters. Whatever was holding it all together was what continued to escape him. Did they all stay for family? Some sense of obligation to tradition? Was it the fear of being alone in the world, on your own somewhere, having a go at it without a safety net? Surely they all didn't feel as though they'd accidentally been born or raised in exactly the correct place on this huge planet. Surely some of them wanted to try something else at some point. Still, he thought maybe the only difference was that they hadn't ever left. He thought maybe that didn't seem like too much of a difference at all. In a town like this, he thought, There are people who are just trapped, and there are people who don't even know any better. Everybody else is just passing through.
I read this article in, I don't know, National Geographic or something absurd in a dentist waiting room about how humans are only separated from certain primates by 1% genetic difference. 1%. All of this insanity and just 1% of random mutations. Maybe it was a piece I heard on NPR, and now I think about it. Who cares? 1%. Can you believe that? I'm walking around thinking all these thoughts, putting my head down and working, or contemplating my eventual death, or catching a buzz. I'm having all these stupidly deep conversations with all these people for hours on end just because I think they're cute or smart or whatever. And all that time, I'm basically 99% ape. 1%. It's just really hard to believe. I guess it's so mind-boggling because the answer to all of our collective introspection is right there in that 1%. It's totally incomprehensible, but also seems absurdly simple. In that meaningless little 1%, you find poetry, war, gangbangs, politics, the G-spot, graffiti, profanity, televangelists, banking, hyperactivity disorders, laws, cremation, tattoos, literature, shoes, massage therapy, afros, business cards, sunglasses, landmines, everything, all of it. It's all there in that 1%. 1% ago, I'd be moving on, completely devoid of any hint of hanging on to the internal baggage you left me. I wouldn't even be considering different ways to try to communicate with Peter because I'd exist in some analog off-on kind of instinctive mode. One path ends, on to the next one. Door closes, I turn and move in some other direction. No real thought. I guess it explains why sometimes I daydream about being a caveman. I was just telling a friend how I wished I could be some Ooga Booga cartoon character Neanderthal, just living off the land, foraging for meals, and sleeping on a dirt floor of a cave every night. After pointing out that I was far too much of a diva to sleep in the dirt, she said how stressful she thought it would be to be running from cougars or bears or whatever all the time. But honestly, that's part of the appeal to me. If I were actually being confronted by deadly, aggressive predators on a daily basis, then this constant anxious nagging in my head would make sense. Instead, I'm just standing behind the counter at the record store answering questions about the new boring album from whatever idiot's Pitchfork Media just wrote a glowing review on, and I'm feeling like my mind is slowly exploding, just awash in this nameless terror that twists my guts up in knots and pulses through my veins in hot, viscous throbs. Jesus. 1% ago, I had it made.
All My Friends Are Ghosts is written and directed by Blake Cormier. Starring Blake Cormier as Simon, Joe Barton as Peter, Zach Dunlap as Charlie, and Lauren Seal as the narrator. Original music and sound design by Blake Cormier. More information about the production and all songs used in the show can be found at adoredbymillions.com.